day 4 of my sewing marathon in July, and today we're going to be doing the Tempete blouse from Maison Fauve, and I'm using this gorgeous lace fabric that I'm lining with some gold satin fabric on the inside. I've been scratching my brain how to do this because it's not done as a lined top. It has facings on it, it's got a cowl neck, and it's got pleats at the shoulders. So how do I get this into this? So I've been racking my brain how to get the lace layer and the satin layer to work on the Tempete blouse. I could have done them as 2 separate garments and joined them together at the neckline and the sleeves, but because of the pleats and the way that the cowl drapes, I didn't think that that would work. So I've made the decision that what I'm going to do is take each lace piece and each satin piece, put them right sides together, sew all the way around them with a narrow 1/4 inch seam allowance, turn them the right way out, give them a good press, and then I can sew it together as the pattern. And the Brucey bonus is that I don't need to put the facing pieces onto the back because it's already been done for me, and all the seams will already be finished, because that was the other dilemma of do I do French seams? I don't want to overlock, I wanted to do it a little bit couture, so I thought this is a good way of doing it. It kills 2 birds with 1 stone. It sorts out the facings and the cowl and the pleats, and it sorts out my seam finishes as well because they're already finished, because it's been sewn together before I've sewn it. Does that make sense? I think so. So we're going to go to the sewing room or sewing space. I'm not lucky enough to have a whole room, hence we're recording these in the corner of my lounge because the TV is on in the open plan part. Nick's doing his ironing and he's watching the rugby, so I've popped in here for a little chat before I start sewing. So let's see how the Tempete blouse turns out. Looking good. So I've sewn the backs. Look how gorgeous that looks with that gold underneath, inside out. So I did them right side of the lace to the wrong side of the lining, and that way when I turned it out I had the satin right side of the lining to the back of the lace panel. So I've done that for the 2 backs and the front. Now we can actually start sewing the Tempete blouse. But before I do, I just want to tell you something else that I'm doing a little bit different. It's the sleeves. So on the Tempete blouse, it has a long sleeve with a cuff. Very, very nice, but not really suitable for lace, in my opinion. So I've gone and cut out a lantern sleeve, which is in 2 parts. Just let me grab the pattern pieces, then you can see it a little bit better. So these are the pattern pieces. I've taken them from the Geneva. I've taken them from the Geneva blouse from Liesl & Co. Love these lantern sleeves. So that's the top half of the sleeve with a curve on the end, and then the bottom half of the sleeve goes like that. So it goes out and then in. There's no cuff on it, it just has a bit of bias binding sewn round the bottom. Bob's your uncle. I'm just going to do the sleeves in the lace, so they're going to be see-through. Where that join is there and the seam, I'm going to do French seams on it just to keep it nice and tidy. And then apart from that, I'm going to follow the pattern. Maybe. Okay, so I've stopped for a little pit stop and a catch up with you before we do the final construction parts. The pleats are in the front and the back, and the shoulder seams have been done, and I've formed the little cowl neck at the front. Now I had to do that a little bit differently. Just let me turn it inside out. On the pattern you have two facings on the back there, and then they join up exactly with the centre of your fold over for your cowl, and it all folds over really neatly. Because I've double-sided my fabric, I didn't need the facing, so I folded mine over and stitched it into the seam when I've sewn the shoulder seams. And then the other thing that I've done a little bit differently is I've not put a zip on the back. I've sewn the centre back seam a little bit higher than the zip line, so however long that is, and then I've top stitched the seam down where the opening is, and I'm just going to put a little cute button and a rouleau loop at the top. I've made sure that I can get my head over the top with that gap first. Winner winner, it's working. So now we've just got the side seams, the hem and the sleeves to put in. Today's make was a resounding success. I had a little bit of a struggle. Tempete blouse all done though. It was a bit of a mare sewing two layers together when one was a satin and one was a lace. Talk about giving myself a challenge, but I'm pleased with the result. I've got the lantern sleeves in and I think it drapes really nicely. So you'll see a little image of me up here doing a twirl in my top with the skirt that it's meant to be with, which is the Cubrada skirt from Itch to Stitch. It's a little bit creased because it's been in my winter bag up in the top of my wardrobe, and I've just pulled it out to try it on with it. So excuse the creases, but you'll get a little bit of an idea of what I'm trying to achieve for the look. The neck, because I've done it a little bit differently, has come in a little bit snugger, but that's okay. I'm alright with that. Let me know what you think. I've just literally got some bias binding to put around the end of the lantern sleeves, which I haven't got any that I'm happy with, so I'm going to leave that until I can get some in person. Now, I'm looking down here because I've got a little friend who wants to say hi. Let's see if she'll come up. Are you coming, baby? Come on in. Here she is. Just in case anybody's interested, Esme, because I keep calling her Lily. Why do I do that? Esme is doing really, really well. She's going on some nice walks, building her stamina up and building her leg muscles up on her right side again. She got a little bit tired this morning, so we had to come back before I really wanted to, but she's back to her old self, back to her cheeky self, jumping up in the morning, demanding breakfast and cuddles, and then demanding walks and asking for a tea again, which she's not done for ages. So just a little update there in case anybody's interested. Where you going, baby? Go on then. So that's it for today. I did put 2 things on my list, over-egged it again, but I'm pleased with the blouse that I've made. And I've now got to go and prepare for tomorrow because I'm off to a social tomorrow with Steph and Val. We're going to the Cheshire Social run by Clara Bobbins. She's one of my Meet 9 ladies and she's one of the first ones that I'm actually going to meet in person. So I'll try and do a little bit of sneaky vlogging while I'm there. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.